All right, here is the Monday morning, or the drill down for October 17th, it's Wednesday. Taking a look at the equities, this is the daily chart. We have a bearish candle right now, which is actually a good thing. So you can see this bounce we had off of 1421 back on the 15th, which was kind of the 14th for us. So because of the different time zone on these charts, this really happened on Sunday night into Monday morning. This bounce did. So pretty much all week we've been going long. We had, when we get into the 1 hour, there's a little bit of a reversal formation where we had a high, we broke it, we even retested it, went longer. So if we get a retracement today, this could give us some opportunities to buy. Like this uptrend has really been taking hold and gaining some steam. So if we can get a retracement here on the daily chart, we can get some good buy opportunities back into that uptrend. So that would be something positive to see. Here's the 4-hour chart, and let's just go into the 1 hour. So it appears, it looks like there's some sort of gap here last night. So there's, this is where we opened, and there's a gap to where we are. We've been climbing higher since. We're still lower than where we opened, which is why we're ending up with that bearish candle. So things are moving higher right now. We'll just see if that continues and see what the futures are showing. So because who knows, maybe just this chart is having some problems. Okay, so looks like there is some disagreement here, or because CNN Money says that the S&P futures are up a point, whereas here it looks like they're down. So not really sure who to believe on that. Let's look at some news that came out overnight. All right, there was some high stuff out of Britain. Looks like a lot of stuff either came out within expectations, or looks like it all came in within expectations. This was a little bit positive. Unemployment rate was positive. Okay. So stuff out of the U.S. today, we have these mortgage applications, which seems to be a low tier. That's going to come out at the top of this hour. We have some stuff coming out at 7:30. These building permits, it's medium tier, and a lot of low stuff today. So I'm not sure if this is going to be able to move the market or not. And then tonight we have some stuff out of China, a lot of stuff out of China, which of course can affect the Aussie, which can affect the Kiwi. So as far as overnight stuff, a lot of within expectations or a little bit better, and some low and medium term tier stuff coming out this morning. All right, we'll close this. So again, CNN saying that the S&P futures are up, but the Dow futures are down, so it could be kind of a mixed bag. Either way, a retracement wouldn't be a bad thing. So maybe we can get one of those. Let's look. As far as what a retracement would look like, let's get a FIBO. There's a lot of different areas we could do a FIBO from. We could do from this bounce and look for a 38.2 to down here. Let me see where we are now. We are at 1454, and we have to drop down to 1443, which would be an 11-point drop, which would be kind of a lot. So we could just do a FIBO of the most recent movement and look for some more stuff just within here. We would have 38.2 would be 1450 areas, just a 4-point drop. So we'll keep this one for now and see what kind of retracement we can get. Here are the Forex. So there were a couple entries that we missed in the last couple days. I want to go over those real fast. The entries were here and here. So on both of these, and I'll have to zoom in a little bit, there was a target. You know, we see the lowest high here, and then there was a high there. That once we broke and converted, we did a retracement of. I think on both of these, though, whenever I did these morning drill downs, the pairs were at the top of their movement, and I didn't really draw a FIBO. If I did draw a FIBO, I didn't really get serious about where a target would be. So I didn't pay as close of attention as I needed to. And when they actually came down and did these retracements, I wasn't around to get in. So you can see in this pair, once we broke that high, we converted it. If we just follow this FIBO all the way up, you can see once we got here, this wasn't much of a retracement before it broke high. So you keep following it up. And then that wasn't much of a retracement, so you follow it to the next high, which has your FIBO sitting at this high when it makes this move down to the 23%, and then down through the 38.2, through the 50, through the target, and then kind of stops at the 61.8. So, you know, any of these areas could have been targets for entry between the 50, the target itself, and the 61. And then using the 76.4 as a stop. So you could have gotten in at anywhere from 29.16, 29.12, or 28.98. You know, there's a lot of different areas to get in here. And using 28.70, let's just round it to 28.75 is your stop. So you can like a 25, maybe a 35 pip stop, depending on where you're able to get in on some of these, which is acceptable. Which should be kind of towards the higher end of what our max is. But maybe at some point today we could zoom into the 5-minute or something on these and see if there are any signals, or just look at the equities to see if there were any signals, or if there's a way we could have used equities to time these entries. But if we were able to get in along here, we had to move up. We set another high, and we'll be able to see these on the daily chart once I move back out there. So once we broke that high and converted it, you start running a FIBO from the move that broke it. So starting at that low, and you just follow all these little highs up. So we made a high there, but that wasn't a 38.2 or anything to enter off of. You keep following it higher. Even though there's a drop there, that wasn't a FIBO number. So you get to this high, and when it makes that drop, you hit the 38.2%, which would be a good entry. You could use. You have a couple different areas here you could use as a stop, and once you hit that 38.2, you're going back long again. So I did that again last night using the previous session's high as the target. We started this movement. We made a high. We got almost down to 38.2. So the 38.2 is at 30. Looks like that's 3031, 3081, and we got to as low as 3085. So within 4 pips. Considering we never got down to the 38.1, and 38.1 is kind of the lowest retracement you want to see, there was no entry there, and we haven't broken that high either, so we haven't missed much either. If this continues to go higher, we'll just follow the retracement up. And if this decides to go low, if equities do go bearish on us today and this drops, this is what we'll use to start targeting some entries. So some potential areas are, because the target itself is so close to the 61.8, I think any of these 3 areas become your target. The 50%, the target itself, and the 61.8. So you're looking at 3068, 3059, and 3055. This range, it's about a 13 pip range between these two basically between the lower end of that area and the higher end. We're at 3110 right now, so there would be some stuff to get through to get there. Um, you know, close to 50 something pips to be able to get all the way down here. It does look like we've kind of broken out of some of this consolidation stuff, and we're seeing more range type movements. You can see the movement, retracement, another movement breaking that high, retracement, another movement breaking that high, retracement. So this is our kind of market to be trading, and it would be unfortunate to miss entries on some of these. Let's get out to the daily chart. So here's some of those highs that we're using as targets. This was the lowest high. We broke above it, converted, did a retracement, and then get kind of traded our way up. This high was lower than that one, so either way, it was a session high. And I wonder if we even had a kind of a retracement on a daily chart. No, almost to the 61.8. So that could have been a potential entry. The 61.8 came in at 28.87, and we had a low of 28.89. So there was some potential there using the daily chart to get in on that. Either way, we had a high set. We broke above it, converted, and retraced. So there's another entry, and then even today's session high, or I guess the previous session high, yesterday's high, was right there. We broke above it, converted it, and now we're just waiting for a retracement. We have a high over here at 31.67. Let's see if that's the highest one. It is not. So let's get this off. Highs at 31.70. That is an area we want to look for. We are, what, 60 pips from there right now? If we get that high, we on the first attempt at that high, I'd expect a bounce. So if we can get that high, you want to sell off of it, at least the first time around. If it does break through, great. You just want to get conversion and then a retracement. But I wouldn't mind trying to sell off of it and then just seeing if the buyers can regain control. You know, that's one of those areas that you want to be proven wrong first. Here's that uptrend we've been in. So we set this high and have been retracing. I wonder if we did any sort of FIBO off of that. Looks like about a 50%, so I made that darker. And you see we've hit the 50% a couple times in this area late September, bounced off of it, came back again earlier this month, the 10th and 11th, and have been going long ever since. Once we broke this high, I think this becomes the next target. So again, we're in that uptrend. If we can get the equities to retrace or consolidate today, maybe we can get a lower entry into this trend going long. Should be nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and remove that. So again, for today, the targets are, and hopefully we can get this low, anywhere between this 50 and 61.8% FIBO. If we can get down there, that would be a good entry to go back long. So looking at the yen now, here's the daily chart. Some of these charts got, I think MarketScope crashed on me yesterday, so some of the notes on the charts I had went away. But this would have been one of those lowest high kind of things, target to go long, so we broke above it. Hard to tell if we converted it that day or not. We probably did on an hourly chart. But we certainly got above it in these next two sessions, so that would have been a target. We got above it. Maybe it was a little choppy, but the move eventually sustained. There also would have been a target there that we got above, so let's just go ahead and draw those. There and there. And of course, we had a session high yesterday that we're dropping below now. We haven't gotten above yesterday's session low, so let's, and we could do some fibos. We could do one from here to here. All right, so let's the 1 hour now. All right, so here you can see some of those targets where we broke above it and converted it, and then hopefully this won't be too hard to read. We'll make that pink so it sticks out a little more. So there's conversion up here, then the retracement down to 50% FIBO. So we had a retracement there, potential entry. You know, it had some problems, but if you had, depending on where your target was for entry, there, you never got below. So even though it was choppy here at first, you, I don't know, either close for profit here for 25-ish pips, set your stop to break even, and then got stopped for break even, or you're still in the trade when it broke out and went long. So then it broke that target, and you run another FIBO. Starting with the move that broke that target, which was this one. Then once you converted, you just keep following it long until you get a retracement. In this case, it's down to 38.2, and then went long again. So those are two potential entries. In both cases, you broke the high, so you did what you wanted to see. Here, though, we did not break yesterday's session high. I don't believe that was right here. We may have gotten above the previous session high, though, so if we run a FIBO from this low to here, you can see we basically got a 100% FIBO. We came all the way down to this low, and we're bouncing off of it right now. Since we got below the 76.4, it's actually a signal that we're probably, or that we're potentially headed lower. I think I may have entered on a FIBO around like the 38 or 50% right here, even though we didn't break and convert, or I guess this would have been a high from a couple sessions ago, so that would have been a session high. We did break above it and converted on some of these candles, so then when we did the retracement, that's why I had the FIBO. The entry just wouldn't have worked out. So that's where we're sitting right now. Between the 100% FIBO and this lower high, looks like the pair could take a break for a couple sessions or however long. It looks like the pair could be ready to retrace. So first target is going to be this 38%, 78.56, which is also in line with the 100-day moving average here at 78.45, and the last target at 78.52. So these three areas right here, as well as this trend line, and this trend line's already been broken and kind of converted. So who knows if it'll hold up or not. So that's the kind of the last thing we're putting faith in this little plan is this trend line. But we do have the 38.2. We have that session high here, which was a target. The moving average. We even have the 200-day moving average coming at 78.45. Sorry, the 100-day moving average is at 78.59. So we have 100-day moving average 78.59. 38.2% FIBO coming at 78.56. That session high at 78.52, and then the 200-day moving average is 78.45. So within 15 pips of each other, we have a lot of areas of defense here for the pair to potentially bounce off of. I think when it starts hitting any of these areas, and if it looks like it's going to slow down, you could use the 50% FIBO as a stop. You could also use this 78.36 as a stop. And look for an entry long on these. So I'll go ahead and leave this stuff up and see what we can get. Go into the Aussie dollar. This was another pair that we had some potential entries on just in the last couple of days. We had a high set here, and we'll be able to see that on the daily chart, but we broke through it and converted it. Then you do a FIBO of the move that did that. Oops. So this is the move that broke and converted the target. And a FIBO, we got down to, we hit 38.2. We also hit the target, so that could have been a potential entry going long. You can see we just barely poked above the high and then came back down and did more of like did closer to a 50% retracement and bounced off of this moving average. That was on the 16th and the 16th, which was yesterday. So these are those two entries that we missed yesterday. One of them was at 4 o'clock in the morning, so missed that. But this one was at 10 o'clock or during the 10 o'clock hour, and I really should have gotten that. So that was unfortunate to have missed that and go long, because you see that was the low that even if we had this trend line drawn yesterday, even just connecting these two lows, you ended up with this trend line, which was nice to see. You also ended up on the 100-day moving average. This wouldn't have been a bad target to enter off of, and then it eventually went long. So it was unfortunate to miss that low. Since then, or from that, we broke yesterday's session high, converted it, and I had we did a 38.2 that came in yesterday during the 10 o'clock hour. Sorry, the 9 o'clock hour, and has been going along since. You can see it broke that high and it's on its way now. So that was another potential entry here that was unfortunate to miss. The Aussie is getting strength now. You can see it already broke its own session high, whereas the Euro has not yet. The Euro is also going long. Here are the equities. They're going short, though. You can see the equities are dropping, but the pairs like the Aussie and the Euro are going long. So that isn't typically what you end up seeing. Let's go back to the yen's kind of sitting flat. So we're probably seeing the same thing on the Aussie yen. But something you want to be cautious of, because eventually the two are going to need to get back in sync, being the equities and the currencies. So either you're going to see a retracement here with the drop in equities, or who knows? But things do seem to be breaking out. I wonder if there's some news right now. Nothing's listed at 5:30. We can take a look here. Maybe this has something to do with it. Must do everything to stabilize the euro. This isn't too different from when Draghi said we'll do whatever it takes, and it was a big deal for the market. So maybe this is some news that's pushing higher. Let's see what Greg said. Okay, nothing there. And this says S&P futures are still down 1 point, and who knows if this was updated or not. Either way, big jump in currencies right now, starting with the euro, or starting with the Aussie. Euro's going as well. Both of these had potential entries near the 38.2. Like we were saying, the euro, we didn't quite get that low, so probably wouldn't have entered there. And seem to be heading higher. So again, unfortunate to have missed this entry. But just keep planning and keep trying to get these. You can see we definitely seem to be breaking out into a trend. We're breaking a high, doing a retracement. Broke this high, did a retracement, broke that high, and we're just heading longer. I don't think we've been to the daily chart on this. Here are those targets. This was the reversal formation we got on the October 8th. It took about a day and a half or so to get and stay above that target. So on the 10th and 11th is when we really got above these areas. Did a retracement or that. Yeah. So ended up between these two levels. Not much of a retracement there. Actually, let me try that again. Did a 61.8% retracement right there, and then bounced higher. So that would have been another potential target if we go back into the 1 hour. Right there. So there's been about 3 hours there. That was the 14th, which was, I think, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. During the 9 o'clock, I'm sorry, the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock hours. So between 7, 8, and 9, some targets to go long. Unfortunate to have missed those as well. So maybe, I think that's a sign, since that happened on both the Aussie and, was it the yen that did that? Hasn't done it yet on the yen. Maybe it was the euro that did that. I think if it could be a sign that I need to do a better job of drawing these fibos on the daily charts and looking for retracements to enter off of. So to zoom out on that, came up to here and then dropped 61.8. So and that was the 15th, which would have been Monday. Hey, so there's the bounce. It came within, there's a fibo there. So the same time period I missed, that's the 7 o'clock hour, 8, 9, 10, all these areas to bounce off of. So probably a sign I need to do a better job of drawing these fibos on the daily charts and then sticking with them to see if we get areas to bounce off of, or if they start coinciding with some of these other retracement levels. So let's see, back to where we were. Aussie going long. We would want a retracement now at some point before entering long. We could draw the fibo from this low, since we did do a 38.2 from there to there, or really even from there to there. So keep an eye on that. What would a target be? It's kind of hard to say at this point. It might be just too overextended right now. Whoops. Too overextended right now to draw a target. So let's check the Kiwi and see what we're getting there. Okay, so this has been a little bit more of a pain in the ass than the Aussie. Where, the Aussie has been trending up for the last few days, and making these higher highs and higher lows. You're getting retracements and then breaking those highs, kind of climbing out of this area, getting the kind of stuff you want to see. The Kiwi has not been. Kiwi has basically been staying flat, kind of just working its way lower even. We have this trend line down here, so maybe it'll get down there and bounce higher. We even had a target drawn to short the pair, even though the equities are going long. So this is one of those pairs kind of giving us a mixed signal. We still haven't broken yesterday's session highs, which would be a lower high, because we had this high. We've had lower highs for the last 3 sessions, going back to the 12th, then the 15th, and the 16th. All had lower highs, and so far today we haven't broken the high from the 16th, but we're right against it. So in terms of a FIBO, I don't know if you just run from here to here. We can do that on the hourly chart. So there it is. That doesn't look like a 38.2 to me. Nope. So we didn't get a 38.2 there. Let's see if we got. So that's closer to 38.2, and I guess we can work our way up. So we did that high, and you got more than 38.2, closer to like a 50. And from that low, that was more than 38, between 38.2 and 50. You go from here to here, 61.8, and then bouncing up the 2 moving averages. I think what about from here, 38.2 again, and heading higher, so we can keep that one. But again, what you want to see happen is a break and conversion of this high, and then the retracement. So we want to get above this high, stay above that high, and then look for the retracement to go long. So we don't really need this right now. We'll definitely keep an eye on this pair, looking for the break and conversion. But right now, no target, because we still have to get above that area before we'll be able to run the FIBO to start drawing out the targets. Aussie yen. I think this was another pair that there was a missed entry on. This was the session high from 2 days ago. I guess would have been Monday's session. We broke it on Tuesday. Then we converted it. If you run a FIBO from this low to what became the high up here, there was a 50% FIBO right there. And then it went long. It just kind of barely got above it here. It came back down to roughly the 50, but didn't get that. It didn't get as low. Traded kind of flat, and then broke above it. And it's been kind of chopping its way back up. You see we're approaching session highs right now, as we are on the Aussie, which, well, I guess we're at session highs on the Aussie. With the dollar yen going down, the strength in the yen is what's holding this pair down a little bit. Obviously making the Aussie the pair you want to go long. So let's go out. So again, missed entry there. Unfortunate. You had this range here. This one came all the way down to almost the 76.4. So if you were using 78.99 or even, I think, did we, oops, Aussie yen, no. If you were using the 80 point, like 81 flat, or even 79.95 area, then you could have had a stop below the 76.4. Even though it dropped all the way down here, you would have been still in the trade, and we're at session highs right now. So there could have been a potential entry here, depending on where you entered and what your stop was. So even if you entered here, which looks like it was around 81.15, you could have had a 20 pip stop down to 79.95 and stay below the 76.4, so you're safely in the trade at 81.34, so up maybe 15, 18 pips right now. We'll go ahead and keep this FIBO on here in case it bounces off this high. I'm not expecting it to, especially with the way the Aussie dollar is breaking through. But we can just keep extending it maybe from this low to whatever becomes the new high. And I guess we can go ahead and do that here as well. I don't know. It'd be something like that, and let's just keep it off for now because it'll be distracting as these are. Keep that for now. Going out to the daily. Again, there's a target here. It took a couple days to get above it and stay, which this is the same reason, you know, I had this reversal formation. I was all over this thing when it made these bounces, when it bounced off of this target and then came down here and then started moving high off of this target. I was all over them. Unfortunately, it was kind of choppy down here on these charts and ended up getting stopped out of the trades that I entered. So I might go back to my notes from these days as well as the entries that I made and the stops that I used and how I ended up getting stopped out. But you know, this is the type of reversal formation you wait for and that you want to see, because we did get above these levels and now we're getting pretty high above them. You know, from 80.07 to 81.34, that's over 120 pips. So that's the kind of movement you want to be in. It kind of sucks to not be, but we had a target here going long. That would have been another target going long. Let's go ahead and get that guy drawn. And when we go to the 1 hour, you can see some of those entries. Okay, so yeah, entry there, entry there. This would have been another entry, and then the entry yesterday that I missed. So a lot of stuff to enter off of. Here, if we go to the daily and start running some FIBOs here, let's go from here to here. Kind of make this a little thicker. It retraced to almost the 61.8. So the 61.8 came in at 79.92. The low here was 78 or 79.95. So within 3 pips. Even the day before, we got in within 6 pips. So 2 potential entries right there that would have worked out okay. And all the more reason to get better drawing these FIBOs on the daily charts and keeping an eye on those. Let's remove that. And now we're headed along. So potential targets, and this is what I need to do a better job of doing. But so let's just go out to the daily. You can run a FIBO from this low to whatever this high ends up being, and look for a retracement off of that, or some sort of FIBO of that. We would need it to stop moving long. So if these things are moving long, they're falling knives. You're not going to try to enter into this stuff. And now with the equities moving long like they are, looks like these might be more moves that move on without us. So we could have missed these entries, which sucks. But we just keep drawing new targets and try to enter on these. Let this current movement run its course. Wherever the new high ends up being, run the FIBO and try to get in, because you can see these pairs have broken out of these little channels that they're in and are trending, and this is the type of market that I really excel in, and just need to get some solid entries on, and I could do some good things for my account in a market like this. Let's go ahead and get this FIBO off. It's just because it's kind of distracting, and once we get a new high, we'll run a new one. Kiwi in. All right, similar movement long. Let's go back to the Kiwi dollar. There it is, breaking the session highs. Once it can convert, you run a FIBO from this low to the session high. So Don't know what the catalyst is for all of this movement. Let's go back here. I don't know why he's talking about this lackluster pre-summit trade. There have actually been some movements, and we're kind of trending, and these guys are missing it. I don't know. Like, they don't seem too impressed with this market, but I am. So this still says that the S&P futures are, I guess now we're at 0.8. All right. Well, I'm just not sure if this is being updated or not. So Kiwi yen, go out to the daily chart. This has been another kind of a toughie. We had target here, but it's been really struggling to get and stay above it. Even when it did on the daily, it just retraced the next day, and then now we're back above it today. So this doesn't show that we're all that close to session highs. We can run a FIBO from here to here. So way bigger than 76.4. If anything, that's a sign that pair's not too confident in its trend, kind of between the two ranges, so not much there. We'll hold off on that. See, this pair does seem to still be kind of rangy, especially compared to like the Aussie and the Euro. So this thing's getting held down. I think the Euro Kiwi or the Aussie Kiwi is going long, which is making it tough on this guy. We do have some of these higher highs, so we're getting some. All right, so higher lows. We're getting some of this compression here. We have these three highs, kind of a static high, but with all of these higher lows into them, into those highs. So that's something to point out. We're above the two moving averages. I guess this is the hourly chart. So the plan stays the same for all these. Break above that session high and convert it, and then go wait for the retracement. If we're still using this as the target to get above and stay above, we had conversion here, and if we do a FIBO from like this low to the high, see a 50% FIBO right there. Even that would have been a decent entry heading along. We're not very high above that right now, so that the target itself was at 64.25, and we're at 64.43 right now, so we're not even 20 pips above that. But still wouldn't have been bad the way the other pairs are looking at. It could break. Of course, we'll have to look at the Aussie Kiwi to see how strong the Kiwi is, and we already know that right now the yen is stronger than the dollar. So Kiwi dollar is a better bet than the Kiwi yen. This is probably a pair that, at least in the current strength and weakness situation, you would want to avoid, just because there are better pairs out there. Aussie Kiwi. So this was another one where there were some entries that got missed. We had last week's high. We broke above it and converted. You run the retracement. There was a 38.2, giving a potential entry there. And then the pair broke that session high, or that high, made a new one. If you run a FIBO from that low to the next high, we're trading kind of between the 50% FIBO and the 61.8% FIBO. So I think I entered off of the 38.2. I entered somewhere around here. We traded a little higher. We did work our way lower twice, there and there, but have since kind of worked our way back up. I entered at 26.08. Looks like we're maybe 13 pips above that, just ballparking. So we have worked our way a little higher than that a little bit. But you can see kind of how it moves. You break a high, convert it, and then do a retracement. So let's get these off. Now I guess I can go ahead and do the little entry that we missed. I missed. Here we go. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. And just keep an eye on this thing. All right, go out to the daily. So there was a target to get above, and I think we did way back when. Then if we look at higher highs, that would have been another target right here to get and stay above, which we did, and even using the weekly high, we got above that. Let's do a 5-0 on a daily chart. 5-0. All right, so there's that target and potential entry that we missed, and now we're running a 5-0 of the new range. We could have a new target kind of this 31.8, or even down at this 50 where we had a lot of stuff going on, a previous high, a previous low, and a 50% 5-0, just slightly below the oh, that's weird. Slightly below the weekly high, or last week's high. So potential target there if we can get down this low, enter a buy order. Euro Aussie. Let's look at the dollar index. So seeing a weak dollar index, we got below yesterday's session high, converted it, and didn't even do a retracement. We're just headed lower. So seems to be some dollar weakness, which is why we're seeing the yen go down, and could be contributing to some of these other pairs just blowing through their highs the way they have been, the Aussie specifically and the Euro. So that's the set. Those are the setups for now. We're at session highs, so before entering long, you want to see whatever the high ends up being in a retracement. Things to work on are tracking the 5-0s throughout the day, so not just letting them sit. Doing a better job of looking at the 5-0 on the daily chart and looking for entries there. You see a couple of missed entries here on a few of these pairs, the Aussie yen, and the Euro, mainly by not having the 5-0s on the daily charts and then not following the 5-0s throughout the sessions. Something to work on today is to go through the notes on where my entries were, trying to figure out what I was doing at these times, and try to avoid missing more entries in the future. So those are the notes for today.